I feel very, very lucky to have come across Namita Dubey's Instagram because it's exactly the kind of page I had been looking for. Because these days in social media, you're just bombarded with romance and thrillers. Nothing is wrong with those books. It's just that I don't like reading those books. And then you find someone whose reading taste just matches yours. That's Namita Dubey for me. So today I'll be recommending you books loved by Namita Dubey and my thoughts on them. And of course, she does not need an introduction, but for those of you who don't know her, she's a full time actor. She has been on web series like Sisters and Aspirants and many more, and also she's a reader. So, today we'll be talking about her books and what I think about them. Here are these are the books that we will be diving in today. Okay, so first we have is let's start with Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. So, this book is set around Christmas and it gives you all the Christmassy vibes. It's about injustice. We all know that injustice is wrong, but what do we choose to do when it's directly placed in our hands? So, there's our protagonist who sees something very questionable going around in the town, and now it's about should he be ignoring it and act like he saw nothing, much like everyone else in the town doing, or should he take a correct decision in the right direction? So it's about that. And while I was reading the book, it really made me want to be a better person. Yeah, it's that good. And also it's very thin, you can see here, so I'll not spoil much for you. But I really, really love this book, that after finishing this book I wanted it to be a little longer, but it's very short. So yeah, I had actually watched the movie adaptation after I finished this book. That's also pretty good, the movie. And also, yeah, I remember I had read this book in December before Christmas, and after I finished this book, I was so moved by this book and so inspired that on the day of Christmas I had actually visited a church. I'm not a Christian, but still, so how good this book is. Please give it a try. Next book we have is Arrangements in Blue by Amy Key. It's not a fictitious story, rather, it's a memoir about the author Amy Key. So, this book is about living and growing old without romantic love and in ways you crave it. But it's also about self love and making a home of your own. This book will feel like you're reading someone's personal diary because it also gives you the author's childhood situation, what led her to choose to live alone. I find the writing style very beautiful, and this book has a lot of Johnny Mitchell's song references because the author is very closely bonded with her. So yeah, pick this up. I had a very good time reading this book. So this was the second book. So the next book is Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy. This book was longlisted for a Women's Prize in Fiction in 2024 and also for the Dubliners Literary Award. And this book explores motherhood in a very real and almost uncomfortable way. And there were so many instances in this book where I was so pissed off with the woman's husband, because this book is very raw and unfiltered with the readers. It shows much details about motherhood, those sleepless nights, repetitive days, and in ways mothers starts losing themselves while raising a child. This book is written about it's the book is about motherhood, but also for an unmarried woman it's very uncomfortable. You'll get what I'm talking about if you read this book. Yeah, just so read it. And the book is written in first person, so there were so many I's and me's in this book, and I felt very personal with this. I don't know why, I'm not even a mother, but still I cried while reading this book. The next book we have is Grief is the Thing with Feathers by Max Potter. I've already talked about this book in my channel before. So this book is about grief of a man, and there's a crow as a character in this book which resembles grief. And this man has two sons and he has lost his wife. His wife dies, and so the book talks about how they live with the grief and eventually how they move on. The book is very short, it's almost around 100 pages, but it will take a lot of time for you to understand it. It's written in that way only, like the whole poetic theme. This book has both prose and poems in the book, so it makes it very unique, the writing style. I highly recommend it, 10 on 10 recommend it. The next book we have is Heartlam by Banu Mushtaq, the winner of the International Booker Prize 2025. So, this book is a short story collection about Muslim women in South India, but I know every woman living in India can find the stories familiar. So, each story follows a different woman, but somehow the stories feel similar and repetitive. I don't know, maybe because of the theme, but it very beautifully portrays their struggles and emotions. This is a very intense read. It has won the Booker Prize for a reason. Do read this book, it feels really light, and you can finish it in very less time because it's a short story collection. So, like, you can read one story at a time, like that also. Okay, so the next book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. It's probably the only book I did not like of all the books and that Namita Dubey has recommended. I don't know why. The internet has made my expectations very high because everyone was very much talking about this book. So I thought it might be very intense and deep. But I read the whole book and it did nothing to me. I mean, I did not find anything. How to explain this? Literally anything. I don't know why the netizens are crying over this book so much. Those series like Euphoria in Class where everyone is sleeping with everyone. This book felt like that. So I don't know why people finding it very much deep. I really tried to search meaning in this book, but that too I did not find. I feel like the reason this book is getting very popular is because how common situationship has become, and the protagonist Kunal and Mariana, their story feels like that kind of only, like being in a situationship. I think that's why people are relating to this book because of a very much common this thing has become now, situationship. And I think it really depends on how you understand contemporary dating to fully get this book. I did not understand it. It was not my thing, I guess. So the next book we have is The Lantern of Lost Memories by Sanaka Hiragi. This one's a comfort read and it's a short story collection, and has such a beautiful concept. It talks about a photo studio where people can go after they die, and there they get to choose their favorite memory which they get to relive. It's very similar to the idea people talk about that after we die our brain plays our best memories for a few minutes. It's such a heartwarming read. I think these kind of books are very necessary when you just want to slow down. And then we have The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak, my favorite book. Elif Shafak's writing is just magic. I don't know how she manages to do it, but it's so good. So, in this book, The 40 Rules of Love, there are two stories going parallelly but in different timelines, and it talks about Sufism and spiritual love. So, this is not a non fiction book, but it actually tells you all the 40 rules of love. It's very deep and philosophical. So, before reading this book, just open up your mind for any possibility. And not just the protagonist, all the characters in this book are so well written, and just read it, please. I highly recommend it. It's perfect for the fans of historical fiction. Then we have a Greek Lessons by Han Kang. So this book is about two people who are dealing with loss in different ways. So there's this woman who lost her ability to speak, and then there's the man who's a teacher, a Greek teacher. So the book is said Greek Lessons. So he's slowly losing his eyesight, and they both meet in this language class and then form a subtle connection. The woman in this book is also dealing with divorce, and she lost custody to her child. The separation just adds another layer to her silence. But the story is not really moving anywhere, and it revolves around them, like how they communicate and how they live with their disabilities.